Alright. That's it. We're going to stop. Nope, no more loops. We're going to start the cast here. We're starting much later than I was originally wanting to. So, let's go and turn on that StarCraft music and switch our splash screen over to our games. Starting off today, we're going to have Week 7 of 4 Pool Lifeguards versus Lettuce Attack. Plenty of matches, plenty of familiar faces from the Coach-Pupil League. Our first match is going to be CPTCrunk versus SHimmer and a PVZ. ZVP actually, SHimmer is Protoss. Yeah. So we're going to just go ahead and hop right into it. Switch our stream over. Make sure that we actually will cast the game. And we're going to hop right into our first match. Taking place, of course, on Goodnight, the first map of Week 7. We're a little bit behind. But we do have some Week 8 games for everybody. Alright, in the top right corner, as the red Zerg, we have CPTCrunk Zerg. Representing, I think, our other team, one of the teams. And in the top right, we have SHimmer Rev playing as the pink Protoss tribe. Overlord flying down. Right into it. This is Tier 3. Oh, SHimmer pylon in the main. That usually is indicative of a 10-12 gate or some other type of very aggressive play. You really can't go forward, so it is going to be gateway first here at 10. CPTCrunk, meanwhile, going for a 12 pool, so. Yeah, 10-12 gate, 12 pool. So, gateway aggression usually wants it to be pool first. Since if they do hatch first, they get extra larvals to work with. But we can see the larvae being spent on Zerglings. That's smart, since you do have to build an inordinate amount of Zerglings to be able to defend from the Zealots. Yeah. Probe finally going to get the scout. It is going to be a last scout from SHimmer, which is a bit unfortunate. Probe going to get caught by the Zerglings there. That's unfortunate as well. But it will be escaping out. Zealots going to mass up on the ramp, probably wait for 3, and then head over. Crunk, of course, continuing to add on Zerglings. Just trying to, get enough to be able to defend and secure its base. And Goodnight has a pretty long rush distance, so it's very likely that SHimmer will be fine. Or Crunk will be fine. They have plenty of Zerglings. And they're continuing to make more. Meanwhile, back at home, Crunk is getting up into their assimilator, an extra pylon. They're macroing, or SHimmer, yeah, SHimmer is doing that. Macroing fairly well. Macro hatch going down. Probe kind of like skate in. Zealot getting a little cornered. Gonna have to back out and try to regroup back up. Okay, good engagement there from the Zealots, but that is just too many Zerglings for 3 Zealots to deal with. And yeah, that probe is going to die. And it looks like the Zealots are going to have to run home. No Zergling speed, so the Zealots will be able to kind of turn around safely. The Zealot taking most of the damage. The rest are going to have to run away, as more Zealots are just kind of being baited around over here. Of course, these Zealots do need to block the ramp because these 3 Zerglings are threatening, trying to run up into the mineral line. But meanwhile, that's going to be about 3 Zealots that are lost at the, like, outside of the base, right? So, not great here for SHimmer. Really, if you're going for this really Zealot-heavy style, you do actually need to hold on to the Zealots, because if you can't keep that critical mass, they will die very quickly. SHimmer finally going to take their expansion. And the thing is, right, with the Zealot pressure, well, I guess Crunk is on 3 hatches, but with the Zealot pressure put out, Crunk is going to stay on 2 bases because they're afraid. Now, actually, they continue to make Zealots, so this is very good for SHimmer. Crunk will probably be going into Spire here, since that seems to be a pretty reasonable response to this. No, it's going to be Hydras. Hydras are a good unit. Oh, this isn't week 8. It is not week 8. It is week 7. Week 8 will be next, though. I was hoping to see my ZVZ. Ah, rip. But the thing is, 1 base Protoss versus 2 base Zerg is still, like, fine. Like, that, the reason Protoss has to take their expansion so quickly is because Zerg can take 3 bases for free. They just can't. That's how that math works out. But if you can move the game in a direction where Zerg stays on 2 bases, you're perfectly fine operating on a 1 base economy. But we do see SHimmer moving up into getting their 2nd base, and that'll put the onus on Crunk Zerg to try and take a 3rd or do some damage. Now the Zealots are going to move out, and they will find the Hydra Den, and there really isn't anything back at home. CPTCrunk maybe not having the greatest of time macroing up. They only have 1 drone on gas, so it's not like they're really going to be able to field a lot of Hydralisks. We're going to see a couple of sunken colonies thrown down, which is going to be smart, but it might be too late, as these Zealots are going to be able to put a lot of pressure onto this Hydra Den, or at the very least know that the Hydra Den is coming. The first Corsair should come out and then probably not do anything else, and then SHimmer's going to throw up about like 4 or 5 cannons at their natural to defend from the Hydras after the Corsair scouts the Zerg base. A lot of Zerglings trying to sneak out, come around. Zealots coming up. +1 started for the Protoss. Ooh, yeah. Zealots are going to flank these Zerglings. Get rid of a lot of them, actually. That is huge for SHimmer. Again, at this point, they don't want to overcommit into here. The Corsair is going to come look around. It actually gets to freely harass these Overlords for a little bit. CPTCrunk really feeling that only 1 drone is on their gas, which is unfortunate. That's the kind of thing that can lose games, and in this case it is looking like it is going to cost at least 1 Overlord. Now these Hydras should spawn before the 2nd Corsair, or before the Corsair kills the 2nd Overlord, but, you know, it is unfortunate. That Overlord will be bruised. Oh, wow. Depending on if the Corsair actually goes for it. The Corsair goes for it. The Corsair does get 2 Overlords, so it kind of pays for itself there. And SHimmer can just throw down a few more cannons and be completely safe. They'll be on 2 base to 2 base, or even going up into Dragoons, which is a choice. They'll probably be needing to get their Robo Bay here soon as well, but they're getting their Citadel of the Dune. The only reason you would really need to get Dragoons at this stage is if you think the Zerg is going to be going for really fast Lurkers, in which case you need the Robo, and you wouldn't be getting the Citadel of a Dune. you'd be going like Gateway Man with just pure Zealot Dragoon, with the Dragoons specifically are just to kill the lurkers, and in some cases to bait out Hydralisks, or bait out Mutalisks, but there's no Mutalisks, because we've already seen the Zerg base, there's no Spire. So I think I disagree with that choice. Imagine Zealots with Sim. Imagine Zealots with Sim. That'd be pretty great. Alright, here comes the push out. +1 armor, singularity charge, and Templar Archives on the way. Robo almost finished. Then the Hydra army is just kind of massing, although CPTCrunk getting dangerously close to having over 1k in the bank. Corsairs coming down just to check for any exterior overlords, but also to make sure that there aren't any hidden bases out on the map. They'll probably be rallying over that way soon. I think SHimmer's just checking around, making sure their opponent is on 2 bases, right? They just want to make sure the Zerg is in the natural here, that they aren't out on the map, that they aren't buying any room for a 3rd base to go up or expansion down there to go up. But the Hydras are going to start moving out. No upgrades yet. Range is on the way, Evo Chamber on the way. That's a lot of Hydralisks. That's a lot of Dragoons, just kind of sitting out in the middle of nowhere. Dragoons really can't fight Hydralisks. They do 10 damage to them. Hydras do their full 10 damage to Dragoons and have a way faster attack. If you have the Zealots buffering, it's a bit of a different story, but generally Dragoons don't fight Hydras very well. There, doing a check on the tech, seeing we're still on lair, lurkers on the way, but we already have our robo and observatory up. So CPTCrunk has kind of been very limited on their economy right now. I mean, you can even see 20 drones to 44 probes, and it really is like that is what is biting them. They've been building this Hydra force in a way that like they haven't actually been doing anything. Like these Hydras haven't really gotten any value for Crunk Zerg. And so SHimmer, meanwhile, has just been macroing like an absolute madman behind this, taking their base down here. Oh, Krungzerg is sending a drone out, but the Dragoon was already positioned there, so that is very good. Ooh, yep, that's very good. Hydra's rallying down across the map to prevent this base from going up. I think the Overlords did see it, and these Hydras will be able to, you know, get some of these buildings. But that does mean the Hydras are a bit out of position. So SHimmer might be doing a counterattack. Overlord dies. Pseudo supply blocking Krungzerg. Corsair also dies. Unsupply blocking SHimmer. Yep. SHimmer is sending their forces to try and catch these Hydras as they're running back to the map, but we'll let most of them go. And just catching the small little detachment force that has been left over. Building extra pylons. Adding on extra gateways as well. Third base for Krungzerg going up. All these hidden Hydras. Alright. That's unfortunate for SHimmer, as when they try to reestablish their base again, these Hydras will kill it. Oh, a couple of Zealots left over, that's smart. Zergling running across the map just to sort of check, see where Shimmer's at, sees there's no base there, and then runs straight into particle disruptors. Crunk meanwhile adding on the extra lurkers. No observer with the main army. I think it was back here. Oh, the Zealots do finally leave and the Hydras reactivate. Coming down to kill the probe and the pylon, which finishes. This third base, unawares. Shimmer is unawares that it exists. And it looks like Crunk is going for an attack here. We do have High Templar out on the map. They do have Storm Energy, but I don't think Shimmer ever actually researched Storm. We can look, and we can see if we are... Oh, we do have a double Storm on the Hydras. Unfortunately, that is not double damage, but we do have a third Storm going down. Very nice Storms for our Protoss player. It looks like all the Lurkers are dead. Looks like there's just a few Hydralists left. And with a 50 army, really it's a 25 army supply since 25 of this is wrapped up into drones. We're adding on 3 extra drones. A lot of ink money that is not being spent. I think Crunk might be put in a place where they are not going to be able to win this. They do have their third base up. It is beginning to mine. But this Corsair is going to start tickling these Overlords a bit more. Yeah, if all those Dragoons had run up here and started absolutely tearing through these, Crunk would have had, I think, 0 supply. I think there was only 1 Overlord not with this pack. So Shimmer could have like come up and killed everything, but decided to spare the Zerg, their Overlords, as Hydras continue to deny Shimmer's third base. This pylon is absolutely blocking this Nexus. And so we can see Shimmer kind of is like losing their macro here, although it won't really matter because they do have a pretty good engagement here going on. Unfortunately, as these Zealots clean up, the Dragoons are going to have a hard time coming in and fighting, and as I say that, I'm corrected, as Dragoons absolutely tear through everything. Even though Dragoons take full damage from sunken colonies, Dragoons do full damage to sunken colonies, and 20 damage is a lot. Oof. CPTCrunk, and that is GG. They're not playing like trash, they're playing very well. Well, it's tier 3. You're playing okay. Let's see. Crunk earned that 40,000 score. Okay, let's head back to our splash screen and get ready for game 2 of CPTCrunk versus Shimmer. This time played on Eclipse 1.2. Hopping right into it. Let's switch back to our game view, and we should probably also open the game back up. That might help it with casting. In the top right corner, we have CPTCrunk as the Red Zerg Brood, looking to tie this series up. And in the bottom left, we have as the pink Protoss, Shimmer Rev. Looking at the 2-0 and have a good time while doing it. Maybe. They opened with the 10-12 gate on Good Night. And honestly, I could see them doing the same thing here. No probe being sent out when I think the round... Oh, no, there's their expansion probe. I stand corrected immediately. And so that's a good timing for the pylon. Unfortunately, he sent a probe that is carrying minerals, so he won't get the mining timing correct. Said he is going to be scouting, and that is 8 minerals that he will not get back. Maybe. He might get it back. But it is pylon, so I guess we'll see if we're going to see Gateway first or Forge first. I think usually in Tier 3 we see Forge first since it is the safer of the 2 options. Personally, I enjoy Gateway first, but that's just me. Shimmer sending their second probe down. And we are going to be seeing a Forge first. Probe getting up into the base. The scout sees that it is going to be a 9 pool? Overpool. the Overlord's already spawned. Sees that it's going to be an overpool, and is probably going to have to throw some photon cannons down to defend that. Probe's just staying in the base. Yep, throws a single photon cannon down to defend from possible harassment. Although you see these eggs spawning, the probe's job is to basically catch what spawns from these eggs. So if they spawn 3 pairs of Zerglings, you're going to want to build an extra cannon. But if they just spawn that first pair of Zerglings and you can catch the other 2 spawning drones, you can just go ahead and build your Nexus. Now, it looks like they're going to build the Nexus. He built the Nexus a little bit earlier because SHimmer is prescient, but that's okay. Sometimes if you know, and you can just work off of that, you don't actually have to scout and get information. You can just kind of play it by ear, and generally you can be pretty right. Gateway going down, we should see the assimilator going up pretty soon as well. Second cannon going down, probe blocking the front lines. And we will have our third hatch coming down, so this is what I was saying when, with how Zerg basically get 3 bases for free, yeah, they just get to do this. So CPTCrunk getting into a much more normal game than game 1. They're going to be able to get up to their 3 bases. And if SHimmer doesn't put the pressure on, then Crunk might be able to execute on that Hydra bust that they kind of wanted to do in game 1, but didn't really get to do. Cybernex core started for SHimmer. Lair halfway done for CPTCrunk. Oh, this is gonna be a Spire. No Hydroden yet. 600, saving up the minerals and gas. Okay, so it's gonna be Ogre Zerg Gamer from CPTCrunk. That is that can be pretty scary if SHimmer doesn't see it coming. Generally, you're gonna need to throw photon cans up in your mineral lines, as well as getting a few more Corsairs than you normally would. But if you don't know it's coming and you think that you're still going to get Hydra busted, that can be dangerous. So it really does depend if SHimmer catches their Corsair on this Overlord and delays the actual scout of the main base. If you get your first Corsair out and you fly over, you can kind of catch that mutas are on the way. But if you don't, then you don't. Hydroden going down. Spire just about done, and so we should see 6 Mutalisks come up right about now, but it looks like CPTCrunk is instead just getting Scourge for the Corsairs and going for Hydra, a very delayed Hydra thing instead, which again I don't that doesn't seem like a good choice. I guess the Corsair is out. Oh no. Well, that wasn't the most efficient Scourge use. If we count Scourge as being about 12 minerals and 38 gas, that's about 60 minerals and 190 gas spent on that Corsair. That's not great. So CPTCrunk, yeah. That's what you need to work on next game. You gotta get those Scourge timings right. Or get those Scourge splits right. Can's gonna spawn and snipe this guy out of the air. Dead. So 3 pairs of Scourge for 1 Corsair. Not fantastic. We do have the Hydras coming up now, with upgrades coming in for them. But Zealots will be moving across the map. Storm on the way, +1 air weapons on the way. Don't get this. Don't do that. Oh well, I guess actually, never mind. Do that. If you usually don't want to get +1 air weapons unless you are going to go really hard on Corsairs, which I respect that. So you know what? Thank you, SHimmer. So Zealots are going to move around. Unfortunately, I don't think there's really much they can do. There's enough Hydralisks here to completely slaughter them. So they are just going to have to slow walk away as they take Hydra fire. But they will start moving away. Wow. Okay, High Templar out. Storm has been researched. So, the Protoss army is in a fine position. Overlord gets a little cocky and leaves its pervert hole, but it does eventually return, as it should. And now we are at the classic 950 Hydra contain. DT coming out. There is a Overlord though. I guess Hydra range is done. But we do have High Templar here, so this shouldn't really last too much longer since the Zealots can just come out, engage the Hydras, and the High Templar can storm and back them off and murder all of them. Unless, of course... Oh my god. That is an RSL storm if I've ever seen one in the CPL. That is an amazing storm. DT now moves out. Of course, there is an Overlord here, but the Overlord does have sight vision on this. So that DT does just kind of suicide itself, but SHimmer can move out here now, break the Hydra contain. Another amazing storm. The High Templar are actually gods. And Crunk Zerg just kind of gives the oof, gives the GG, is playing terrible. I don't think they're playing terrible, just sometimes. Storm is a good unit. They rage quick. My god, actually, we finally found the perfect counter to SHimmer. His nemesis, a player who leaves games as early as they do. My god, this should have been like a 9-game series if that was perfectly matched for each other. That's mean. I'm sorry, but Don't leave games just because your hydras didn't contain the Protoss player perfectly. You don't have to leave a game because of that. But, you know, sometimes you do get tilted, and we do gotta respect that. Both players played well, and that is our first series of the day. I should probably update our score before I move on to game 2. So let me go ahead and find whatever my score text box is, and that is going to be a 0-2 in SHimmer's favor. Putting a point on the board for Let Us Attack. Now we're going to move to our second match of the day, which is going to be DeadInfested versus martingb in a ZVZ, which is, you know, the best. Of course, it's the best matchup. Real quick, DeadInfested, did you guys play your games out of order? Because the replays are out of order. Was Eclipse your first game? I am calling them out, but also mostly because there's been cases where I think the replays have gotten switched around. I just want to make sure that I am playing them in the correct order. Was Eclipse a no? Lol. Okay, so Goodnight was your first game, so we'll start with Goodnight. As per the RSL, as per the CPL rules, and we'll go from there. In the top right corner, as the Teal Zerg Brood, we have Destroya with 1 drone not mining. In the bottom left, we have Genesis 7. Oh my god, I didn't switch the splash screen around. Let me come back. In the top right corner, we have Destroya as the Teal Zerg Brood. And the bottom left, we have Genesis 7 playing as the pink Zerg Brood. Of course, neither of these names correlate to the names that are on the replays, so I will assume that Destroya is DeadInfested, and that Genesis 7 is martingb. DeadInfested is saying, oh right, they use their nom profile. See, that is when you see, kids, when you're a very good caster like I am, you're able to know these things off of context clues. So looks like it is going to be 9 pool gas from DeadInfested and an overpool from martingb. Again, I have no idea what these build orders mean in this matchup. I talk a lot about how much ZVZ is my favorite matchup to watch, and I feel like knowing like the specifics of it would ruin the magic for me, because I just like to see those little dudes fight. I just like to see Zergling battles. I just like to see both players use their weird little dudes to kill the other players' weird little dudes. 6 Zerglings coming up from DeadInfested. Of course, this is cross spawns, which would naturally make me think that the more aggressive player is at the opposite of advantage. And in that case, that means Genesis 7 is at an advantage with 2 extra drones and a lair on the way, while Destroya is getting extra Zerglings. So Genesis 7 setting their Zerglings up on the ramp. This guy doesn't really understand it, but he has the spirit. We have Zerglings running all the way across the map. So again, this is actually very good for martingb again, because it's cross spawns. They have these Zerglings on the ramp. All they have to do is defend the ramp, which is easy enough already, and eventually they'll get their Mutalisks up way faster. I would almost say they could skip Zergling speed. They could just cancel it just for the extra gas, and go straight to just getting that very fast Spire and extra Muta. Now, the Zerglings don't have the greatest arc on the ramp. There is a way, I mean, Destroyer could kind of angle their way up in here and get a good arc, but as they come up to the fight, great reaction there from martingb, but also great reaction from DeadInfested pulling the Zerglings back. Oh, yep. Oh, okay. Really nice engagement there from DeadInfested. Again, they just have to bust up the ramp and wire. No! No! Okay, I think that's still good in martingb's favor. I see this a lot. I don't understand it, and maybe Zerg players in the chat can enlighten me. But I've seen so many ZVZs where like you fight on the ramp, and then you just run your Zerglings like over here. And I don't why. It seems like such a massive overcorrection, because like it's not like going here or going here. Like the Zerglings just run to this dead space up around here. Is there like a reason for that, or is it just like should I be right in criticizing Zerg players for doing that? If I don't see a reason in chat, I'm going to take that as carte blanche that I just get to be mean to Zerg players every time I see that. Genesis 7 moving across the map, setting up their Spire. And the unfortunate thing for Genesis 7 is that they don't really know what their opponent's doing, so this move is a little forced. Just because like Destroyer could have a very fast. That's not great. But 3 mutas out for Genesis 7, plus 1 attack actually, researching first. I think Genesis 7 is assuming that their opponent already is about at the same tech levels they are, and they're just grabbing the cheapest thing. That's not really true, though. Destroyer sending some Zerglings down here, getting a really great surround on Genesis 7 Zerglings. But again, I think there is a moment for martingb where they can just go, oh, where's your Mutalisks? And, yeah, so the bit of indecision there from DeadInfested, although this is the correct move. If you retreat these Zerglings back, the mutas will just eventually kill them. The Zerglings have to go for a counterattack so that the mutas don't get to kill all the drones. Now it is 8 drones to 10, so again that huge drone drift is important. But these Zerglings are going to be coming in and potentially getting a lot of kills. So we're going to have to see 10 drones starting with. 1 drone does go down. Mutas are clearing up, and it looks like we're only getting 1 drone with all those Zerglings, which is huge. Now, martingb has a massive Muta advantage. They're replacing... I thought I saw a drone hatch. But the Mutas are heading back. Don in the chat saying that that was a very unfavorable trade, but they would have gone for the drones anyways, and that is true. That move is kind of forced because, again, if the Zerglings fall back, they just die for free. So you do have to do that because you're at least getting some value out of them. DeadInfested getting Scourge, that's the correct move when you know you're on a Muta deficit. Now you want to try to layer it so that the Scourge hit 1 Muta apiece. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the Scourge did not connect with any Mutalisks, but we also have Zerglings in the main here, about to tear through the drones, and that is GG, and is going to be 1 point on the board for martingb. DeadInfested earned that 10,000 points. I just love the fucking score. It means nothing. That score, like, it means so little. But I just love it so much. Alright, let's move on to game 2 on Eclipse. Let's hop right into it. Good morning, champion. Welcome to the stream. Alright, in the top right corner of Eclipse, we have DeadInfested, and in the bottom left corner we have martingb as the orange Zerg Brood. DeadInfested, of course, playing the teal Zerg Brood. as their hero units. Now, I nearly almost, when I glanced at the map, I thought I had loaded the same replay just because the players were in the exact same position as game 1. But I'm very certain that at least one of our players does not want a repeat of game 1. That player is DeadInfested. Alright. You know what? We have a little bit of an early ZVZ here. So, champion, that reward is, well, I've only removed it for the CPL casts. When I do regular, when I do other non-CPL things, I will add it back. So feel free to end the streams. It's just not for CPL. It feels a little bit rude since it is kind of not, you know. There's like a whole other group of casters and it's the whole thing. So. Scimo forgot about the group he didn't cast. Well, the issue is, this is already a group that I didn't cast that I said I was going to cast. What was the... What group? It's fine. I'll be back here same time tomorrow morning, so I'll cast that group then. Maybe. Fuck, I was going to do some Zerg trivia since we're in an early ZVZ, but people are already building their spawning pools. Real quick. Alright, in the chat, for some fake imaginary internet points, what is the name of the Overlord transportation upgrade? If the Overlord is going to pick up Zerglings and drop them in your opponent Zerg's base, what does it use to hold those Zerglings? Crowbarks with the very close transportation sack, and dotted with the correct answer that it is the ventral sacks. And you know what? Honestly, if you were living in StarCraft, right? There probably would be like a fucking random meal that's like, hey, we harvested an Overlord's ventral sacks. Here, try some Overlord ventral snacks. I mean, there are barbecue Mutalisk wings. So, you know, it's like the puffer fish, right? Where they have to like extract the fucking poison thing. Imagine if you're a mind-controlled Terran and you need to go into the ventral sac. God, sometimes Listen, Dada, can you please? Nope, I'm not going. This is a StarCraft stream. Fuck. Okay, Zerglings are fighting. Here's our weird little dudes with their little grabby hands. Spire on the way for both players. It's a bit more even this game. martingb once again has an additional drone, which is important, especially for these early game, for these one base ZVZs. But of course, martingb is going to try to take the second base. If they're able to establish their second hatchery, that would be a huge benefit for them. But DeadInfested coming across the map. Both players have an even Zergling count, even drone count, but it will come down. Ooh, two Zerglings picked off for free from DeadInfested. Gonna come back in, try to get some extra damage in. Gets a really something engagement. Runs around, goes straight for the drone line as Genesis is adding on 3 Mutalisks and Muta +1. Gets 1 drone, gets 1 drone, gets 2 drones, and 3 Zerglings get out of there. This is our 2-drone killer Zergling right there. Where's his buddy? What's his buddy doing? 0 kills? That is the Heroling. He killed both those drones. Unfortunately, we do have several Mutalisks on the way. The hatchery actually gets canceled as this drone comes back to continue to mine. And the counterattack is coming from martingb here. Sunken Colony going up in the main. That's smart to defend from the Zerglings. And the Muta count is even, although Destroy does have an extra Muta and will be able to refuel them a bit faster. Genesis 7 taking the positive engagement there. Really bad engagement there. I think Destroy got like 2 extra Muta volleys than they were supposed to for that fight. So 4 Mutas to 4 Mutas. What is this guy doing? So I'm not gonna say that Muta not firing for like 3 volleys lost the game, but like it lost the game, right? The Muta count is now in DeadInfested's favor. What the f? That is some true StarCraft 1 AI. I've never seen Mutalisks do that. Like, Mutas are usually very responsive. I've never seen one just not fight during a fight. That's crazy. Oh, you know what it is? I bet he was on hold position, and the other Mutas were like fighting just outside its range. Wow. Don't hold position your Mutas. That's very bad champion with the Korean mechanics. Our wrench emote. We have some Scourge, some more Mutas. Oop. We do get a connection. One of the Mutas dies. Champion slept in. That's okay. +1, kind of an anti-timing here from martingb. +1, just not finished. +1, not finished just in time for the Mutas to all not be able to use it. Second hatchery going up in martingb's main, as well as an evolution chamber. This is dumb. Don't do this. You're in a Muta fight. You just build more Muta. You can get the hatchery. Replace the drone. Did he cancel +1? Oh, that's +2. Okay. Don't do this. You're fine. Like, you're down to 8 drones now for no reason. This isn't. You're getting a spore colony for really no reason. I don't know. Like, this all could have been extra Muta. Like, the hatchery makes sense, sure, but like, you could have made more Mutas, right? Like this was 2 Mutas, and you're building 2 extra drones, because you have to replace these buildings. But now you're gonna lose all these overlords. Your opponent has like 5 more Mutas than you. Champion's saying, this is, oh man, please don't get, luckily, because of nepotism, I'm not casting any of the Korean mechanics games, to hopefully give time for our other casters to be able to do that. Hopefully. Yeah, so this is a win for DeadInfested. Just a lot of really strange calls from martingb here. I don't like these 2 buildings. That could have been 2 extra Mutalisks. And then just the delay on actually building Mutas there. Of course, I think it kind of like okay, Mooring, were these Mutas on hold position? Wait, can we see it? No, we can't see if they're on hold position. I just want to look at that fight again. Nope. No hold. Are you sure? Okay, where's the Mutas? Okay, right here. They kind of dart back and forth. Alright. It is 4 Mutas. 1 at like a 3rd health. Versus another 4 Mutas with 2 at like half health. Okay? That's still very doable for these Mutas, I'm just saying. Let's slow it down. Alright. What is this guy doing? Okay, on the 4th volley he attacked. So let's think about that. That is like 39... what does Muta splash damage look like? Muta splash damage, it does 9-6 and then 3, right? Or does it not do 9-8-7? Also, while we're criticizing Mutas, there was another Muta fight. Yeah, right here. Alright. Yeah, right here. So it's 3 Mutas to 3 Mutas. God, you ever just watch the game on normal speed? This is silly. Alright, so that's also another really bad fight. Well, no, that's good because they only actually fired 1 volley off. Now watch this. Okay? They took like 3 extra shots without fighting. Yeah, that was crazy. That game was super winnable. Alright. But it was especially winnable for DeadInfested, who did win that game. Let's go back to our splash screen. Which means we're tied 1-1. And we get to go to our 3rd game, which is a treat to see in Tier 3. Usually Tier 3s, there's a lot of 2-0s. And we're going to hop right into it. That's going to be on Neo-Sylphid. Let's start it up. At the 12 o'clock position as the yellow Zerg brood, we have Genesis 7. And in the bottom left position as the teal brood, we have Nom.Destroyer, or how. We need Texas. Oh god, we should get Texas speech donations set up. So. So. What was I going to say? Or as these players are known by their true names. Their names that if you say it to them, you get to command them or something, because I guess they're demons? I'm not sure where I'm going with this lore, but you have DeadInfested as the teal Zerg and martingb as the yellow Zerg. We have a lot of people saying weird game in the chat, and that makes me excited. And because we have some starting time here, let's go with some trivia. So, God, I'm trying to think of some fuck. Well, I'm blanking on this. We have some spawning pools coming up. All right, here's something. In the main, in most bases on Neo-Sylphid, these gas geysers have 5,000 gas. But there are some bases that do not have 5,000 gas. How much gas are on the 3rd base gas geysers? That's all I got. That's all I got for trivia. martingb saying 3,000. Is it 3,000? It might be 2,500. Is that your final answer? DeadInfested saying 2,000. We have 2,000 and 3,000. Repeating in chat. Zerglings running around. Second base going up. Overlord scouting here. Zerglings continue to run around. And our answer. It's 1,500. You're both wrong. You're both fools. Both. Playing Zerg, so good job, guys. There's a creep colony that probably isn't going to... Well, no, there's Zerglings. Here's our dudes. Let's go. Alright, great engagement there from DeadInfested. Picking off a single Zergling, continues to run down. Sunken colony on the way, but DeadInfested's Zerglings are dying very quickly as martingb continues to just slaughter all of them. Zerglings spawn, continue to die, and these Zerglings get the surround on the sunken colony, which gets one tongue off before it is murdered. I'm never using that phrasing again. Additional Zerglings coming, and the Zerglings are dying. Phrasing. This natural's dead. So, Zergling is a pretty good unit, but we have the reinforcements from DeadInfested coming up, reinforcements from martingb coming up, and the hatchery is going to fall. Boom. There we go. Now DeadInfested has lost 300 minerals, but they do have... Oh, they don't even have a Spire on the way, so DeadInfested is horrifically behind this game. This is actually crazy. Genesis 7 just has to wait for their Spire, spam mutas, and then they just get the free win? Yeah, that seems fine. That seems like a pretty good plan to me. Zerglings running across the map. We do have 4 Zerglings back home defending. martingb adding on 1 extra one pair. And, yeah. I mean, as soon as the Spire comes out, we'll see, like, 3 mutas started. There it goes. And... okay, the Zergling gonna run back to the drones. The drones can fight these Zerglings as they are both basically dead. There they go. When was the last time you saw drones fight Zerglings and actually win? 3 mutas on the way. 4 Zerglings running across the map. Evo Chamber started from DeadInfested. This is like the one situation where the Evolution Chamber is actually a good idea. And the only reason it's a good idea is because any other idea kills you. Mutas coming out to defend the drones, although the Zerglings will be able to put out some fun damage, kill the 1 drone, but the Mutas do have 2 Overlords that they get to chew through. +1 attack, of course, on the way for martingb. And that is 1 Overlord dead, and DeadInfested about to be knocked down to a single hatchery, a single point of supply. But 2, see, honestly, this is just, I mean, right, you can just expand here. So 2 spore colonies does do a lot for DeadInfested. Oh, and the Zergling back. Oh my god, hold on. Hold on. 1 muta. Okay, 1 muta can save some drones. Actually, no, these Zerglings actually will just be able to shoot through those drones extremely quickly. No way. Well, that's the kind of moves that DeadInfested needed to not die immediately. Adding on additional spore colonies. I think at this point, like, martingb just also needs to start making some Zerglings to mix in with the army. Oh man. Okay, so that is the last of the Zerglings from... Honestly, or just build a sunken colony. Just build some drones. He is running very low on resources. He might just need to stop mining gas so he can get like a second hatchery up and get some Zerglings. Because literally one pair of Zerglings kills every single spore colony. Is this gonna be another spore colony? Oh my god. So it's the, we do need the Overlord, but we could also have a, okay, so the hatchery is coming down here. So that's the fun thing is at tier 3, you can mind games a lot. Technically, oh, these, oh, what? My god. If these Zerglings actually get a drone. Okay, they won't. What? Okay, well, what I was going to say is that technically, these mutas probably could fight these spore colonies. Just dive in. This one is the weakest link, so you just hit this one. And then you can hit like this one, and then this one, and then you hit this one over here, and then you hit this one. Like, you can unravel this, but at tier 3, the mental game is so effective because, like, at tier 3, and kind of in tier 2 as well, you're so terrified of, like, making a mistake and throwing away a game because it feels so easy to do that, like, even in a situation like this, where you're overwhelmingly favored and you just have to play it cool, like, you just have to play it cool and pick off the opponent's defenses one by one, because Jesus Christ, that is 6 spore colonies in a single base. No. Yeah, like, but it's the mental game of, oh my, he has 6 spore colonies. But you build mutas for ZVZ. Mutas are the late game. You kind of break the opponent's mind, right? Like, if martingb made any amount of Zerglings, the game's over. But because they didn't, the game is going into Hydras. Wow, now Scimo has plagiarized. I've never plagiarized in my life, okay? I've also never lied in court. Wait, what did I plagiarize? Yeah, that's a lot of spore colonies. Funny thing is, Hydras actually do kind of fight mutas really well once you get enough of them. Like, Hydras are garbage against mutas in, like, most situations, but, like, Hydras mass really well. They scale insanely well versus mutas, depending on the economies, but... Alright, here come the Zerglings. Where's the Mutalisks? They're back at home doing nothing. Alright, Zerglings pick off 1 spore colony. Zerglings pick off no other spore colonies, instead diving straight for the Hydras, which they will get a lot of damage done, but not actually kill anything. Yeah, you don't need these mutas. You have the spore, you have the sunken colony. The mutas don't have to defend. This thing this baby can fit so many Zergling kills in it. But he does rebuild 2 spore colonies instead of rebuilding 1. What a wild, Jesus. What a game. What the beautiful game. This is something. Yeah, like, martingb checking for, you know what, I like this move, you know, checking for those extraneous bases, because you have to be wondering, what is your opponent doing? Right? It's like, at a certain point, you do have to ask, oh, it actually is going to be a sunken colony, so... At a certain point, you have to ask, is my opponent sitting on 1 base, 6 spore colonies, going Hydralisk? They have to have a second base somewhere, right? They do not. Why are you saying we're going to laugh at how this evolves? I see the Queen's Nest. Champion saying this is textbook tier 3 fear. And you know what? They do both have it. You're correct. But honestly, here's the thing though. It works in DeadInfested's favor because DeadInfested is the player who was dead, right? Like, DeadInfested was the player who was losing, so they benefit the most from the game not actually progressing and them just able to like do their own thing. That is saying 24 to 50 supply is... God, they're both supply blocked. Hive on the way. So if we see adrenalings, that will be you know, that's that's a dead Zerg here. Queen's Nest coming from for DeadInfested as well. Not wanting to be outdone in the Hive tech. Okay, I'm just gonna say if I see a single plague hit mutas and Hydras one-shot all of them, I'm done. I'm not. That's too silly. Okay, Queen's Nest done. Hive. 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 Not started yet. Hive almost finished for martingb. Alright, Hydras coming up the fight. So again, once you get a good number of Hydras, they do fight Zerglings okay. Like, there is a critical mass you hit with Hydras, where the fact that they are ranged, they just kind of can fight. But Hive on the way for martingb. Is he getting +3 flyer attack? Did he get Hive? No, that's +2. Okay, I was about to say, did he get Hive just for +3 fire attack? Right, DeadInfested moving out. Magavent2 asking in the chat, how can I participate in the CPL? Well, I'm glad you asked, because there is a Discord that you have to join, and there is a website that is CPLBroodWar.com. You can make an account and sign up for the waiting list. I believe a link to the Discord is on CPLBroodWar.com. Let me just go ahead and pitch that one more time, CPLBroodWar.com. I think that's the right link. If that takes to a site that isn't that site that I'm thinking of, someone please correct me. But you go to www.cplbroodwar.com. There's a Discord link on that website, and then once you create an account, I believe you're automatically signed up for the waiting list. And once you're on the waiting list, yeah. Whenever an opening comes up, you'll have an opportunity to join. But just in case that never comes up, Greater Spire, fuck, there's Defilers, there's the plague. CPL 9 is probably just around the corner, since we are very close to the finals of CPL 8. So it'll be great. So we're gonna have Defilers, which means that we're going to have Plague, and we're going to have a Greater Spire, which means we're going to have Guardians, and we're going to have Adrenalings. What does this mean? Absolutely nothing. So, yep, there's Consume. 2 Defilers on the way. Oh, also Dark Swarm doesn't protect flyers, so Dark Swarm can also, you know, protect... Jesus! 12 Guardians. Well, that's fun. They have a little pocket right here. They just fire over this ridge. We have a lot of Adrenalings as well. Yeah, so Guardians don't fight Hydras that great unless they have, like, terrain to abuse, and they absolutely have terrain to abuse. Let's see it. Let's go. Let's see it. Let's go. You know what? Guys, you take your time. I understand being space crabs is hard and all, because crabs, you know, they're used to moving around on the ground, so it's hard to adapt that to flying. So there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. Operation. Give your opponent space crab. No! We're gonna have to call up Operation Space Crabs. It was too dangerous, too risky. We have to wait for the dogs to get in. Here we go. All right, we do have Defilers coming up. Of course, Dark Swarm does go down, protecting the Hydras from the Guardians, but does it protect the Hydras from the Zerglings? It does not, and the Zerglings will get on top of everything. And yeah, that's just well, that's the power of weird little dudes. DeadInfested leaves the game. They said GG in Allied chat, of course. And that's it. That's the game. Marting takes it 2-1 in a very fun series there. Putting one more point on the board for Lettuce Attack. Which means that if Lettuce Attack wins any of the subsequent matches, they're going to take this Tier 3 group of Week 7. Let's go ahead and hop into our next match, which is going to be Ingo 505 versus Elevation, starting on Good Night, of course. In this Terran versus Zerg. In the top left corner of Good Night, we have Ingo 505 playing as the Silver Terran squad. In the top right corner, we have Elevation playing as the Purple Zerg Brood. Trying to put a point on the board for the team that isn't Lettuce Attack. I just blanked there. 4-pool Lifeguards, I think. Maybe. Okay. Supply depot. Timing. Pretty good, you know, regular timing there. Overlord moving out. Looks like it's going to be some 12 variation from Elevation. Barracks going down by the ramp. SCV going out the scout. Looks like he's going to be scouting their opponent. Yep, there's the 12, and it is going to be a 12 hatch. First off the bat for our Zerg player. Oh, never mind. The SCV's actually cross-scouting. How fun. Really fast CC here, which is fine. That's a good, you know, if you see the hatch first, You can take the faster CC. This is week 7. Okay, that was sick. That was amazing. That drone literally like saw the SCV coming. I was just like, all right, let me just do a 360 no scope on this mine walking SCV. Yeah, that was sick. I'm thinking, you know what? I feel comfortable calling this match for Elevation now. Sorry, Ingo. I'm sure you're a great player and all. Lil Dada for that killer drone. Okay. Lil Dada at the expansion. Redeemed the name a unit reward. So we just have to find this drone that has 1 kill. And you know what? The reason why he's mining from the natural is because that's where he's gonna see the action. He tasted blood, and he's out for more. Of course, these Zerglings will be running across the map just to keep the Terran honest, make sure the Terran is defending their base. Extra barracks being added on, gas being added on, SCV transfer going down, 19 to 14. So a bit of an economic advantage there for the Terran, but of course Zerg can operate on less drones than the other races can operate on less of their workers. Extra 3rd hatchery and the lair going down for Elevation. Yeah. Well, don't do that. What? That's a lot of Zerglings. Don't run into machine gun fire for the swarm. That's generally a bad idea. Dada's saying Little Dada would have killed that entire nat. Little Dada would have left no one alive. We would be seeing infested Terran being produced from this command center if Little Dada was allowed to reign free. Is the Sunken a new Oh shit, that's a good point. Was Little Dada used to make the Sunken? He was right here. Oh no. Well, at least one of these was Little Dada. I'm gonna choose to believe that Little Dada was this Sunken. Or it's like both. It's like Little Dada and Little Dada Jr. Lil Dada 2.0. He was used to make a Sunken because he thirsts for
dead space marines. Not all the Zerglings went down. We do have one Zergling left. Got one marine. What a great job. The rest of these will be running up. There are three Sunkens here. Not only 3 Sunkens. 3 Sunkens is the number that you want to be able to defend from. Oh no. What? That's dude. That's not a Dude, Lil Dada was just like, I don't care. It's like, even he'll kill them all, even the women and children, because he hates them. Terran are like sand for the Zerg. Actually, you know what? Those were the Little Dada groupies. They wanted to try and talk to him, and he just said no. Little Dada has little time for these thoughts. Artosis medics, also possible. There's a lot of things that could go wrong with... Jesus Christ. That medic is spazzing out. It does not know what to do. Oh, 3 Zerglings. Oh, those drones. They won. They thought they were Little Dadas, but they when it came down to it, they were just drones, regular drones. Hey, Valkyrie. Nice. That's a good unit. That's actually a very good unit if it can stay alive, because it can kill overlords very quickly. And it doesn't look like Elevation really has anything built yet to kind of defend the overlords. Alright, Muta's gonna dive in, get some damage on the Valkyrie, which again... Oh, the Valkyrie does die. Well, Fuzzy Branch redeeming the reward that no one likes, but I'm committed to it. Yeah, that's a lot of dead Marines. Back at home, Ingo is getting +1 ship weapons. Science vessels are on the way. Redeemed again. All right. Jesus Christ, Ingo, do you have enough SCVs? Do you have enough space construction vehicles? That's 65 to 28. An Elevation, of course, does have their 3rd base up, though, so that's good. Oh, dude. We can choose to believe that this one was Dada, Lil Dada, right? Since we didn't catch which one of these are, Lil Dada is living in our memories in the sunken colony. It's definitely not this 3rd one, though. Scans going down from Ingo 505 just to check for a 3rd base. It does not see it, and so they are getting bamboozled. Lurkers on the way for elevation, and these Marines are running down across the map to go and start putting some pressure on this 3rd base. However, with a Lurker and some Hydras blocking, I don't think it will be possible for it to
be broken. Science Vessel, first Science Vessel is out. And Ingo does have their third base up. Their economy is looking much healthier than Elevation's. Elevation, of course, only has one mining drone on their third base. While Ingo is absolutely strip mining the top left corner. Big fight in the middle. Zerglings are going to get shredded. A lot of them kind of got misrallied. You have a burrow there for a lurker, but a stim will take them out very quickly as they then dive on the second lurker and then clean up the Zerglings. They do lose a lot of Marines, but they do ultimately trade pretty well there. At least it looks like it traded pretty well. Marines on the ramp here catching some Mutalisks, but they do get completely surrounded and killed, and that is not a good trade. And then the rest of Ingo's Marines will also die as this medic once again tries to run forward without any fire support. Science Vessels are out now though, which means that Ingo is going to start getting free picks off of Elevation's units. They're just going to be able to go, you know what, erase that lurker, wait a minute, and then do repeat that process all over again. Ingo's macro, not the most fantastic, banking 3k minerals at only 100 supply, but they do have going up to 6 barracks. Yeah, the SimCity's a little off here. Like, you generally want these engineering bays off in a corner. But they are adding on to their army here. Ingo says their excuse is Terran macro is hard. Is it though? Is it though? Alright, lurkers getting some marine kills, but a radiate goes down as these lurkers will slowly melt away. Mutas come up to try and deal damage. They will kill this medic. 4 Marines cannot fight that many Mutalisks, and Ingo's going to have to retreat, but not before losing their Science Vessels. Unfortunately. Firebat's being mixed in with the bio now. And Consume is on the way, which means Defilers are already here, and if Elevation can get on top of this natural, it is just buying time, right? So once Zerg has Defilers, the Terran goal is to prevent the Defilers from getting here. And to do that, you basically have to keep the Zerg in their base. You have to constantly be irradiating Lurkers, Mutaclumps, and Defilers. Because if the Zerg gets any room, they're able to leapfrog, Dark Swarm their units to here. And if they get Defilers here, you just instantly lose the game. It's like playing fucking Sunken Defense, except with Marines. You're playing Bunker Defense, except with Science Vessels, where if the units get into the end zone, and the end zone is outside your natural, you lose. Ingo is saying they have too many SCVs. Usually, in Tier 3, I would say that never happens. But when you have 70 SCVs, it gets a little strange, I will say. Champion asking, where's the original graphics? Well, you see, we had 2 redemptions, which means we toggled between them twice. Fuzzy Branch redeemed the original graphics, and then Dada redeemed it again to revert them. Because, that reward is literally just my extortion racket to limit how many channel points people have. And it's very funny. Alright, third push coming down here to put pressure on the bottom right. Scourge flying up to try and pretend to do a recall in the Terran main to see if they can trigger the genetic trauma that Terran players have when they see an enemy colored dot running into their natural from the corner here.
Wait, hold on. Okay. The ZVZ 1v1 thing should be there already. Posture check. Go ahead and sit up a little bit. Make sure my back doesn't die. That's a lot of Zerg. It is there. Okay. Then it's there. Or the ZVZ is on. I'm pretty sure it says Bloodbath only. So it is a wildly different game. Really great work. This looks like it's enough to kill a Zerg. But Little Dada 2.0, seeing its fellow drones fall, it will hold the line. And by hold the line, I mean, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of Marines. Little Dada 2.0 dies a warrior's death as the entire army of Elevation retreats to defend. Unfortunately, I think Tasagi is too good. Oh, nope, we have Zisagi, the Zisagi clouds coming down, forcing the Marines to run away because they are absolutely terrified of the orange and blue cloud. Well, science vessels face tanking damage for the Marines, so that the Marines can come in and get on top. Zerglings coming up on the edges of the cloud. But the edge is not inside, and so they will die. Ultralisk plating on the way. And moving again. No defilers from the looks of it, and a... Yeah, this is a game. I mean, yeah. Ooh, big counterattack being coming up for the fucking Zerglings, but Zerglings are not great, as it turns out. Okay, Defiler. Defiler dies. Yeah. So Ingo takes it. Ingo should take it. Yeah, I don't really see a way out of this for Elevation. As it turns out, when you have 8,000 minerals in the bank because you've been playing the game with 70 SCVs, it's kind of hard to not out-macro your opponent. 4 Defilers out, wriggling their way. Did you know that in the in the beta of StarCraft, Defilers had an auto attack? They had like an acid spit. Why do you think they got rid of that? That's pretty crazy, huh? It just seems really weird, though, right? Like, the High Templar, like, Tassadar has an auto attack in the campaign, and he's just a High Templar unit. And then Defilers had an auto attack in the beta. It's just like, why would you get rid of that? It was called Venom. There you go, DeadInfested knows more than me. It was a weak attack. Yeah, but it was still an attack. I just think it's funny, you know? Alright, that was a good game. Ultras come out. They fight Marines, but unfortunately, once you have enough of them, Marines just kind of slaughter. We should be seeing GG's here pretty soon. Dada saying, actually, the Defiler attack is better off removed because it makes it a lower prio target, in my opinion. That's interesting. If this says UED AI project has that, I need to play more of that. I played like the first 3 Protoss missions, and it's really good. Like making like the first mission of Guild War for Protoss, like actually kind of like difficult and scary, is like that's a good feat. Elevation playing out to the last. Of course, they are going to lose this game, but we prefer our players to stay in games longer than they should than for them leaving early. Because there's always a chance. I mean, not in this game. There isn't any chance in this game, but, you know, in other games, there's a chance. Just not right now. Like, Elevation's pretty dead. Like, this isn't like winnable at all. As Ingo marches single file over to the Zerg base. That was game one. Let's take a look at our score. 100,000 plus for both players. Very nice, very nice. Let's go ahead and hop into game two. Of course, we'll be returning to Eclipse 1.2, one of the best maps in the game. If you're me, love that map. Start. Go ahead and start it. Top right corner. As our Silver Terran squad, we have Ingo 505. Bottom right corner, we have Elevation, playing as the Purple Zerg Brood. Looking to tie it up. Ingo played really well last game, I think. Of course, Elevation made a few critical mistakes, but overall, for being, you know, basically operating with a third of the workers that their opponent had for most of the game, I think Elevation did the best they could. It really did just come down to Elevation didn't really get a lot of economic damage done, and Ingo just had 70 SCVs. I mean, it's really just that simple. Like, once you are macroing on that level with Terran, it's really hard not to overpower a Zerg who only has like 30 drones. But, not to discount the plays there. Both players did really well. Extractor trick to get that extra drone out. Yeah. So it looks like it's going to be a 10 hatch from Elevation, which is really a 9 hatch. It's an extractor tricked 9 hatch. Top of the ramp. SCV scouting across the map. We'll see the Overlord. Oh, double barracks from Ingo. That is, well, that could absolutely blast Elevation by surprise if Elevation doesn't prepare and set up the sunken colonies. It doesn't look like Elevation is sending any scouting workers, and the drone is and the Overlord is kind of taking a really weird arc to get up to the base. So, yeah, like Elevation just won't see this coming, right? That's a really early 2 racks. Gas coming down as well, so Elevation can be hit with a lot of Marines very quickly. The scouting drone does finally leave as this drone fights an SCV, and the SCV will win because SCVs are actually the best worker in the game. Got him. Traded. Alright. Look, Ingo doesn't need that SCV. It was as good as dead. Now this drone will see the Zerglings. 3 Zerglings in production. No creep colonies. But once this drone sees that there are a bunch of Marines, it does see the 2 racks. Elevation knows what's coming. Sending the drone down, it will need to get those creep colonies up extremely early. There's 1, and there's 2. He can get a 3rd creep colony just to be safe, but I think when it's such an early attack like this, you get 2 and some Zerglings. You usually need 3 sunken colonies for the standard Marine medic push. But actually, he might still need 3. I play Protoss, so I don't know what this matchup is supposed to look like. Well, no, never mind. I'm just gonna stop. There we go. Zerglings run across the map. As long as they don't run straight into machine gun fire, they'll give good, valuable information on where Ingo's army is at. Marines are gonna chase down the Overlord, but the Zerglings scamper up the ramp. Unfortunately, all these Zerglings are now dead, but it does give Elevation that bit of extra scouting potential and the ability to maybe kill an SCV. I say maybe because SCVs are literal tanks. They get one SCV and some damage on the refinery. So Elevation getting their lair up, has no Zerglings out on the map, is just on drones. Stim is started and should be finished by the time Ingo gets down here. And medics are rallying to support these Marines. Yeah, I think now is the time Elevation needs that 3rd sunken colony. Yeah, since they don't have the Zerglings to help actually fight. Yeesh, yeah, I don't know. This is looking extremely dicey. Another hatchery going down behind the colonies. As Elevation is just continuing to just macro up. And here comes the bust. Stim has started, so we're going to have a pre-stim here as the Marines then run in. There's the 3rd sunken, but it's not started yet. Sunken colony doing a great job firing at the Marines, but it does eventually die. The drones try to pull up the body block, but they will die because drones literally do not exist when they're fighting Marines. They're kind of like probes in that regard. SCVs can kind of fight Marines, but probes and drones melt. That's GG, and Ingo takes it 2-0. After playing a long macro game, they said, I'm tired, I want this match to be over with. 2 racks. And that means, Jesus, let us attack 6-1 on map score. And, yeah, I mean, Let Us Attack wins this group. Of course, El Pinguino and Justice have a chance to at least get some points on the board for 4-pool Lifeguards, but unfortunately, they cannot win the whole series. So let's go ahead and start with our next match, our ZVZ El Pinguino versus Dada 78641. In our second ZVZ series, Dada in the top left as the blue Zerg Brood, and El Pinguino in the bottom right as the orange Zerg Brood. Both players are here. They're present, and it's time to see what they're doing. They're building drones.
So, there is a cult that exists in CPL. I say it's a cult, but it's an organization of very respectable individuals, but it's basically a cult where they always go Hydra in ZVZ, and they've figured out, they've done the math on how to do the Hydra, like Hydra's, how to force Hydra bills in every ZVZ. I don't think either of these players are card-carrying members of this cult, but it's always a possibility. You gotta be aware. Sometimes Hydras happen. 12 hatch going down for Dada. El Pinguino already has their hatch and their pool started, but Dada with the 3 drone lead. Cross spawns good night. I'm feeling good for Dada, I gotta say. Cross spawns always benefits the greedier player, or the more defensive player. Well, not really the greedier player. So, Dada's in a good position here. In the chat saying Hydra is hard to pull off in ZVZ. Lightstorm saying it's an open application. Yeah. Said, see, they're even recruiting. It's a cult. They're even recruiting in this very chat. DeadInfested is saying they made Hydras, and are they in the? They might be. It's not like actually. It's more like Scientology, where it's like you're just kind of like if you're going Hydras and ZVZ, it's like, you know, if you're doing stuff, there's certain. Never mind. I don't know where I'm going, and I don't feel like having this stream taken down by Scientologists. They're too powerful. I mean, they're all very respectable. It's a wonderful. It's definitely a religion and not at all a Ponzi extortion scheme. Made up the trick, you know, rich and famous people out of their money. Praise Xenu. Zerglings. Yeah, I mean, Dada, it just feels like Dada absolutely can't. Like, they have a sunken in their nat, they have 2 extra drones, and they're ahead on tech. Yeah, it's like, you don't, yeah. Dada in the chat saying that they didn't scout, so that's why they made the sunken. And it's like, yeah, I guess if your opponent went 1 base Muta, you'd be punished really hard, because they would have had Mutas a lot faster. That is a lot of Zerglings, actually. El Pinguino might just be able to overrun Dada here, especially if Dada can't defend the ramp and they just get the Zerglings up in here and kill the Spire, but that probably won't happen. So, Dada's in a very nice position. Good pick off there for El Pinguino, shaving a few Zerglings off of Dada's face. That's a lot of Zerglings. The Spire nearly done for Dada. Zerglings fighting by the Sunken Colony, but I mean, well, actually, the Sunken Colony will fall. The drones are going to have to retreat to the main base. There's nothing here to defend. All those larvae that were supposed to be Mutalisks instead have to be Zerglings to try and defend. But these Zerglings are going to get into the mineral line. This is actually a terrible situation for Dada. I think Dada just loses. My god. I mean, what can you say, right? Like, sometimes Zerglings are a good unit. They aren't called the best unit in the game at some semi-frequently for no reason. Oh, that's a sneak preview of our next group for the day. So
Let's open up game 2. This time, we're going to Eclipse. I don't think Dada even overdroned, but yeah. Just didn't have the Zergling count. In the top right, we have Dada 78, 64, 1 as the yellow Zerg brood, and the bottom left we have El Pinguino as the dark gray Zerg brood. Overlord's being sent the scout. As both players are making drones. Okay. Well, 9 hatch here from El Pinguino. That's extremely risky on a 2-player map. But Dada looks like they're going for some form of 12 hatch. They say, actually, never mind. They say they're going 12 hatch again here, since last game was 9 hatch, and it's the same matchup again here. Now Dada said in the chat that 12 hatch was favored versus 9 hatch, but after game 1, I don't know if I believe them. Might be being fed false information from the analysis desk. But they were in a pretty heavy lead for most of that game. It's just they kind of just... Zerglings are a good unit and can kind of scam a win out. I was saying 12 hatch is favored if the player doing it isn't an idiot. You see, Dada? That's the wonderful thing about StarCraft Brood War, is that we're all idiots. So take that as you will. That might be some bad news or some good news, depending on how you interpret it. Alright, well, we're looking at a kind of a repeat of game 1 here. We have our sunken in the natural, we have about a 2-drone lead, and our tech is so much faster. But can El Pinguino do the mass Zergling flooding in murders their opponent build 2 games in a row? It looks like not. That's a lot of Zerglings for Dada, and they just kind of have to hold the ramp, and they're good to go. Lair finishing up. second sunken coming out from Dada. I like that play. And now Guino gets a really nice kind of surround concave here. But again, they're fighting within range of the sunken colony. The second one finishes just in time. That is a lot of DPS. But the Zerglings get on top of something. Wow. That's the real little Dada too. Living at just barely enough HP. I think there's a theoretical fight there where El Penguino actually takes this, but it wasn't that fight. Dada saying he should have committed. He probably should have. I mean, if he's Ling flooding, you kind of have to take this fight, especially if he knows that you're on lair already. Could have ran up the ramp. That's also true. Yeah, no, definitely. He had enough Zerglings to make the space for it, but I think right now Dada can kind of just defend the ramp and let the sunken colonies do their job. We're going up to 3 hatch for El Penguino. The Ling Flood is continuing. But I think, yeah, I just don't think it's possible for Dada to lose this game at this point. Adding on an additional sunk, that's pretty good. Zergling tries to get a scout. Has to know that it's 3 sunks now. I think El Penguino doesn't really have any space in this game with which they can fight. Like, they should be kind of forced into getting okay. So the move here for El Penguino is actually to get the evolution chamber and set up like a bunch of spore colonies in the 2 mains, and then just try to drone up as much as possible. Because that doesn't work. And El Penguino GG's, and Dada takes game 2 in a pretty commanding fashion. Like, they were in control for the most of that game. There's a brief moment where El Penguino had a shot, but they missed it. But they might not miss it in game 3 as we move to Neo-Sylphid. Neo-Sylphid is a map that favors that kind of aggression, especially because it's not a ramp that protects the main base. But the Neo-Sylphid, the Neo-Sylphid champion redeemed 1v1 me, Bloodbath, Zerg only, no items, final destination. Alright. You'll get that. You'll get that 1v1. But first, we have to talk about this 1v1 with Dada playing as the green Zerg Brood this time in the bottom left corner of Sylphid versus their opponent El Penguino as the like dark blue fake color that was added with remastered Zerg Brood. Dada is saying Navy? No, I didn't join. Never served. So yeah. Looks like it's gonna be 9 hatch again. El Penguino does not give a single fuck. They are going 9 hatch. This is the ZVZ build they practiced, and they're gonna use it. God damn it. Meanwhile, Dada getting far ahead in the drone count, going 12 hatch once again. I think one of the players should have just 4-pooled. I feel like you should have just 4-pooled in one of these games. That would have been very funny. Like, both players were doing like weird like hatch first builds. I feel like you could have just 4-pooled. Like, you've played 2 games where both players did the same thing. Either of you could have 4-pooled, and it's like within a reasonable assumption that they're gonna do the same thing again. Alright. Dada casting from chat, saying that they have the first scout, seeing the hatch underway. Can see by the health of it that is an extremely early hatch. Yeah. Backseat casting. Listen, we need the input from the analysis desk. So you're serving a very useful function by like actually providing you know, information about this game. Okay? I just kind of sit here and ramble and say shit like, whoa, there's 1,500 minerals on that mineral field. That's interesting. Wow. Channel points to bring co-casters on? I should set up a channel point reward to co-cast a series. Okay, that'd be funny. 6,900 for co-cast. That's reasonable. I'll set that up for tomorrow. Yep. Well, El Pinguino sees what's going on, sees the double sunks. And that's not good. El Pinguino getting flashbacks to games 2. And is just trying to pull the trigger. Unfortunately, I actually think Dada might have more Zerglings. They have 16 Zerglings. El Pinguino has 15, so Dada, well, okay, never mind, 17 there, but there's still 2 sunken colonies here. Here's the next wave of Zerglings. Dada once again just continually adding on Zerglings, playing very safe. That's very smart. You just want to, when you're up against this kind of aggression, you just want to, you know, build the bare minimum. Usually you want to save up your money for the big mutas, so you build like 6 mutas at once as soon as the Spire finishes. But when your opponent is like going this hard on Zerglings to try to kill you early, you just fit in a single Spire, spend the rest of your money on Zerglings. You fit in a couple mutas, spend the rest of your money on Zerglings. Third sunken colony? Yeah, third sunken colony going down right there. Again, still very smart. Dada is playing this game with perfect information, so he knows that there's not even any chance for mutas to be on the way. I was saying, you should have moved my overlords in to find the lings. That's also probably true. Like, just move them around, like, sort of around this arc here to be able to see, have a clue as to when El Pinguino would attack. No Spire yet. That's the next thing on Dada's wish list. But we are even on drones. El Pinguino getting a third hatchery, though. Ingo saying, no way El Pinguino breaks this. There is 0 chance in hell Pinguino breaks this. Dada getting speed, and finally the Spire has started. It cannot be overstated how much like Dada just wins as soon as a single Mutalist comes out. Because all these Zerglings are forfeit. El Pinguino would have to get an evolution chamber and spore colonies, but it does not look like they are going for that that tactic. They are just 100% all-inning on Zerglings. They have about 9 extra pairs of Zerglings, so 18 more Zerglings than Dada here. But like, come on. There's no way. There's 3 sunken colonies. Those things two-shot Zerglings. Dot about to add on a 4th and a 5th sunken colony. And here comes the trigger from El Penguino. Zerglings swarming in from all sides, getting really clumped up in the back here. Terrible engagement, such a huge traffic jam, looking like that 50-lane wide road in China, as these Zerglings just do not get damage done. Well, they need to dive into the main. Don't fight the Sunkens. They do dive into the main, but there are so many Zerglings in production for Dada now. The drones transfer up to the natural. Of course, that's where it's safer. However, it does leave the spire wide open, and that's where the Zerglings are going to dive. We have the resources for a single Mutalisk. Again, if a single Mutalisk comes out, oh my god, they're going to save the spire. And they do, but there's a massive wave of Zerglings ready to keep diving into this main. But we do have one single Mutalisk started. The Zerglings just have to block this expansion, not expansion, but this choke point here, and it will succeed. And El Penguino. And GG's out. Yeah, if El Penguino was able to get that Spire before the first Muta started, it would have been kind of a close game. They could have transitioned into a longer game, quote unquote. Maybe. Alright. Let's go to the correct splash screen, and Dada takes it 2-1. Is that another point on the board for Lettuce Attack? I believe it is. Lettuce Attack looking to get the sweet, sick 5-0. And then after we cast this this last match, we will have a short break. It's going to be a TVT of Justice versus Herold. We're going to have a short break in between our matches, but we are also going to 1v1 champion on Bloodbath as per their redemption. Alright, well, welcome to Terran v Terran, our last match of the group. And, yeah. Champion 600 points. You still gotta wait in line. You still, unfortunately, have to wait in line. Thus is the CPL does come first. I do have to put up appearances. Dada is in the chat and Dada is on staff, so they might you know, they might go tell Nablime or Sate Zero what I'm doing on my cast, and we can't have that, okay? We have to be on our best behavior when there's CPL staff watching. If you do something other than cast games, you'll be immediately executed. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Alright, both players, they're building supply depots. That's so exciting. Oh, I should probably also... Okay, bottom left corner, we have Herold and Drostes, which I think is a Warhammer reference, but I don't know for sure. Playing as the pink Terran squad. And in the top right corner, we have Justice, 69.420. Nice. Viewers can't see is the... yeah. Yeah, if CPL casters ever not, or if they're never not talking about casting StarCraft, we do get executed by by the swords. Yeah. It's unfortunate. There was also something about, like... Fuck, dude. I need to stop starting sentences that I don't have an idea of how I'm going to finish them. It's like, my brain goes, we can figure the joke out once we get halfway through this, just start it, and it never works. This SCV gonna get into Scout because SCVs have infinite HP. So he's going to get the full Scout and see the factory en route, and this SCV is going to be doing something very similar. But we do have 2 Marines. Will 2 Marines stop an SCV from getting into Scout? As it turns out, they do not. And this SCV will also see the factory starting. And SCV does finally get picked off. Both, nope, I was going to say both. Just Herold and Drostes, they have 3 SCVs on gas. It doesn't look like they transferred over. They just started retransferring back to gas mining. So I think Justice had to have seen that it was not a, you know, a factor or an expansion build, right? We do have a CC on the way. A canceled machine shop to get vultures out. That's interesting. And the second factory started for Justice, and a third factory started for Herold. Yeah, so Herold is just going to try to end the game. Herold does not want to play TVT. They want to play Vulture v Vulture. Alright, and there's the Vultures are starting. We should see, I think, Speed started at the machine shop. Bunker going down at Justice's Natural. That's a good way to stop Vultures from coming in and harassing you, but once Vultures have speed, they can kind of just do whatever they want. Vultures can just run past the bunker, come to the main, kill all your SCVs, and it just works. Armory started for Justice, so we could see some early Goliaths. If that happens, then the Vultures do die extremely easily to them. 2 tanks actually starting from Herold, so it is not mass Vulture, it just is going to be a big tank push. Which makes this bunker much less useful. It does give Justice enough time to set up their own tanks. And now we have the Goliaths, and yeah, that's not good, I don't think. I think in the rock, paper, scissors of mech units, tanks will beat Goliaths. Goliaths beat Vultures, and Vultures lay spider mines in front of tanks. I believe that's how that works. But Justice just going hard on the Vultures. We could be seeing like the Vulture drop if Justice goes for starports. There's like a 2-fac of Goliath drop timing. Character's really good at doing it. Usually you see that a lot in their TVTs. Marines shredding through this flying barracks. But again, Terran buildings have a lot of HP. If they can just get it down to burning, they won't have to worry about the extra damage, but unfortunately they're about 90 HP off from getting that, so they will be running around just to finish it off. Make sure that Justice can't add on those extra factories for free. CDF says they wrote in CPL Discord, but nobody responded. How can I participate? If you are interested in participating in the CPL, you can go to www.cplbw.com. And once you make an account, you'll automatically apply to be on the waiting list. And then whenever an opening comes up on a team, usually a tier 3 opening, you'll be put on a team. Dada also asking what channel they put it in. Dada is, of course, one of our wonderful CPL staff members. So if you can get in, if you can like message them on Discord or point them to where you messaged on the CPL Discord, they can also help walk you through that whole process, or give you better instructions on what to do. Because right now, all the instructions I have are to keep casting. The sword just got 5 inches closer to my neck. I can feel it breathing down on me, and we are going to see what is going to happen here. Yeah, I think siege mode. Oh shit, those Marines are beelining straight to sit under those tanks. There it is. So he did research it. That was, oh yeah, we just waste the tank shot on this single SUV. Yeah, this is bad. Don't. Oh, we do get one tank. Yeah, Herold and Drostes is essentially completely out of this game. They traded all of their late mid-game potential for that early large push, except the push was a little bit late. Justice already was sieged out on their big ramp here, and yeah, Herold sees that coming, and they GG out of the game. I think Terran. Now here's the thing, Terran players, you know Terrans, you know they love the macro, you know they hate actually going and killing their opponent. I think you could 100% abuse the Terran psychology, and if you do something like this, just expand twice, and they won't do anything. They'll just let you do it. But in this game, sometimes, you know, it is technically the right call to leave the game there. I think you did lose basically all your units. So let's hop into game 2. Let's see if Herold can make their attacks work in this game, or if Justice will once again hold it off. Justice this time playing as the light pink Terran in the top right corner once again of a this time on Eclipse, and Herold and Drostes have the overlay on. What? No, that it's been here the whole time. What are you talking about, Dada? Jesus Christ. You probably just fast forward the VOD a little bit. Obviously, I had to go to the overlay in between loading games. I had it up when I was casting. In the top right corner of Justice, 69.420 nice as the light pink Terran player. In the bottom left, we have as the brown Terran squad. Herold and Drostes. I wasn't. Dada, please, no, not the sword. I can feel the tip on the back of my neck. So we have to talk about this game. Maybe they'll raise it and I can get a couple extra inches of safety. Supply depots going down for both our Terran players. Because what else would they do at this point in the game? Gas going down for both players, looking exceedingly normal. But we do have to watch for that gas count. Or the gas mining of the Terran players, right? See if it is going to be a 2-fact build, or if they're just going to get 1 fact.
Factory goes down for Justice. Factory goes down for Herold. Uh-oh. Okay, Factory goes down for Herold. Are we going to see the second factory? No, that's the supply depot. But we do still have 3 SCVs on gas. Notice Justice only has 1. There's the second factory. So Justice will be able to see the second factory. And they just have to I guess they're just going to need to be looking to defend again, right? Basically just try to create a repeat of game 1. There's an SCV down here hiding behind the minimap. It will get caught by the Marines, but not before it scouts that there are indeed. Okay. What did those Marines accidentally shot the Terran barracks? Sometimes when you aim move, things like that happen. We do have 2 factories going up. We should see siege mode start pretty immediately after that. You can also, I guess you could go spider mines, and that would also deflect an early push. But I think siege mode is generally seen as being safer. So we'll just watch to see what upgrade Justice gets. They might just try and do the same thing they did game 1, which was get Goliaths, get siege mode, just, you know, deflect the attack. We have the 3rd fac coming up here from Herold. Yeah, I mean, we have the bunker, we have the siege tanks. Siege mode is starting for Herold, it hasn't started yet for Justice. But the armory is on the way, so we are going to see Justice do exactly what they did in game 1, and they'll probably feel pretty comfortable with that. Now, they do not have a giant exterior ramp to set up on for this base, but I mean, a contain can happen here, but I mean, Justice isn't going to lose. At the very least, they can park the siege tanks on the high ground and then just not die. I think Herold really needs to just be moving across to attack right now. I think really I think that was the big issue in game 1, and I think it's going to be an issue in this game as well, is that Herold's just waiting a little too long to, like, actually push out. Like, they're waiting for all the units in their attack wave, and then they're moving out. When he could have moved when he had, like, maybe 3 siege tanks, and then just rallied the rest over. Data saying this is one of the situations where you need to spam click, and that is true. There are situations, Brood, where you do have to spam click, and getting big bulky units like this down the ramp is one of them. And now you have this whole army here, and the siege tanks just aren't with it. They need to siege up on this high ground, but we're seeing an extremely late siege. The SCVs are already pulled. They're already on top of these siege tanks. We already have siege mode coming down. The tanks back here are going to siege as well, but again, like, the rest of this army can just keep walking forward, and this attack
has been stopped, right? Like, these siege tanks can't keep pushing forward. Justice just needs to set up and siege back here, and it's fine. Oh. Walking a little too close. Now this tank will take this one out. The barracks is providing a lot of very valuable vision. You know what? This could have gone a lot worse. Herold does kind of have their situation set up here. Now, I actually think these, because these are on, like, this ramp, I think these technically are low-ground tanks, which is a bit unfortunate. You probably would want them to sit up here. And Herold is just going to keep pushing, and that is absolutely not what they should be doing. In my opinion, of course, they should just be taking this position here and using this time to expand once, maybe expand twice, to get the economic edge, scare their opponent into playing passively, but ultimately pull back, since you're not going to, like, get a win from this aggression. Justice adding on 2 extra factories, have 21 more SCVs, double bases, twice the economy. Yeah. We could see, like, a starport be put down, and then Wraiths will just eventually get rid of these. Alright. Punched one hole in, but unfortunately the vision does... Yeah, this tank is probably going to get picked off here. Herold is trading very well. Like, all these random units just kind of walking into tank fire is benefiting them. But not when it's siege tanks, right? Like, it's trading on both sides, and ultimately the trading favors the player with better economy, and that player is Justice. So, like, even if they lose most of their Goliaths because they're walking down here like idiots, they aren't really losing, you know? Like, these siege tanks are inching forward, and Herold, demoralized, GG's, leaves the game. And I believe that is a clean sweep. No, it is not. Justice, in the last moment, does pull a win through for the Coach-Pupil Lifeguards. Herold, unfortunately, was not able to secure the 5-0 sweep. And so that is our Week 7 Tier 3 of Coach-Pupil Lifeguards versus Let Us Attack. Some really fun games there.